Hello, my name is Matthew Nelson and I'm going to be demonstrating how to read data in a generic way using the SDMX Fusion components. In order to show this demo, I've set up a sample project. I've created a POM file which has been configured to include some Fusion components. The first Fusion component is the SDMX API. This contains the interfaces which I require, such as the Data Reader Engine interface. The next two components contain implementations for the Data Reader Engine, and the third component contains implementations for the domain objects, which are the SDMX beans. I have created 3 Java classes, one of which contains very little code, and I'll be implementing this class in this demo. The next class is an enumeration, and these are all the data types we're going to be demonstrating in this demo. And the third class is contains a getter method which takes a data type and returns an implementation of the Data Reader Engine, which is the interface provided by the SDMX API. So we can see, for example, if the user wishes to read in compact 2.0 data, then it loads the data from this location, which is available here under my resources. I have a sample compact data set, and it creates a compact data reader engine. If they wish to load in the demo the generic data, it will create a generic data reader engine, with this being the data location. So we can take a look at this data to show that it is generic data. This is 2.0 data, this is 2.1 data, but this data is cross-sectionalizing on currency, so you'll find at the observation level the currency is the thing we're observing, and the time has been pushed into the series key. This is true as well for the 2.1 data. Time here is at the obs level, but if we look at 2.1 XS, time is now at the key, and the currency is at the observation level. There's also a CSV file containing delimited data. So, if we were to, for example, create a new data reader manager, we could then pass in a data type, for example, compact 2.0, and we have a data reader engine, which is now reading DRM. So this data reader engine is now reading the contents of this file here. If I was to change this to generic 2.1, the data reader engine is now reading the contents of this file here. Because if we step into this method, we can see that the file location is determined by the enumeration we pass in, and the type of reader engine is determined by the type of data we're reading. So we can now call the method readData, passing in our data reader engine. And we'll do a quick implementation of this method. So we can do a while loop. While there's a new key, get the current key, and then we can just print this to the output stream. So if we're to run this sample now, we can see that we've printed out all the keys of the generic cross-sectional data to the screen. And we can change this to compact, for example, and we can run the same sample, and that's all the keys from the compact dataset. But as you can see, we're doing this now in a generic way. We don't care whether this is compact data or generic data or CSV data. We're reading the key and we're printing it to the screen, to the console. So for each key, we can put a new while loop in. which is move to the next observation. And we can do the same thing. We'll print the observation out to the screen. So if we were to run this now, we can see here's a key, and here are the observations for the key. So you can see this is time series because here are the times and here are the values. If we were to move this to a 2.1 cross-sectional dataset, we can see that the observation is now for the currency, Swiss franc, and the value, and the time is now up at this level here. So this is a generic method here. We could easily output this information to an HTML table, or we could even read it in and write it straight out to a database in a generic way, even though the data types that we're iterating over are all different. So if we're to look at the CSV file now, for example, that's reading in the CSV in a generic way and outputting it to the console. What we can actually do is, just to demonstrate all the data types work, we can loop through all the values of this enumeration and we can print everything to the console. So here we go. So now if we go to the top of the file, top of the output, in fact what we'll do here is we'll print out the data type that we're looking at, and we'll put some stars in so we can see where it ends. Okay, so this is CSV data, read in and printed out. Generic 2.0, read in and printed out. Generic 2.1, compact 2.1, compact 2.1 cross-sectionalizing. The flattened structure, which is where, if we take a look at the flat structure, where there are no series nodes, they're all observation nodes, but the observation contains the series key, the series attributes, the observation attributes, and the time all in one node. And it's outputting that in the same way. And this is compact 2.0. So this really demonstrates how you can read data in a generic way, regardless of the underlying XML format, because it all adheres to the methods of the interface. So if you want to use this, it's worth looking at the SDMX API, taking a look at the DataReaderEngine interface, and try it for yourself. This is a sample project which will be checked into Subversion, so feel free to check it out, take a look, and have a play. Okay, thank you.